I wanted to talk about faith. And I think faith is a warrior skill. And I was raised an atheist, so this is not about religion. And it is also not about spiritual bypassing or like getting high and going, yeah, man, I have faith it'll work out. Meaning, I can't deal with it, and I just hope to God it works out. But I really don't think it will, so I'm going to get high until it happens. Or I just don't want to deal with it. I don't want to face the fear, the anxiety, the work, whatever. That is not faith. That's something else. Just like sometimes people confuse surrender with resignation or giving up. And it's not at all. It is the highest form of focus. It takes an enormous amount of being present, reading the currents, allowing your autonomic nervous system to work and function instead of fear and anxiety, shutting it down. And it's not about your left brain bullying you into not thinking about solving a problem and just hoping it goes away. Oh, get the squirrel. If you read any scripture, Bible, Quran, Talmud, it is the Torah, I think it is also. They're horror stories. Have you read them? Oh my goodness, they are these stories of terrible testing and unbelievable circumstances and spirit saying, do you trust me? And the reason you have scripture is not to indoctrinate you into a religion, but to show you how hard it is to work with an energy force that is bigger than you and is bigger than logic and is bigger than earth and is bigger than just this lifetime. And that's what those stories are meant to show you, is what it takes to be a warrior that can connect with something that your brain can't ever comprehend as long as you're in a 3D body. That is what scripture is about, is to make you into a warrior for yourself, for your path, not for your pastor or your mega Christian church so they can buy more houses and yachts. So how do we practice faith? This is like learning how to practice surrender. This is some hard stuff. And it's a combination to me of working extra hard in circumstances that seem untenable. How is this going to work out? There is no logic to it whatsoever. How is it going to work out? Well, this is what faith looks like to me. I'm going to stay really centered. I'm going to feel my feelings. I'm going to regulate my nervous system after I feel my feelings. And then I'm going to put one foot in front of the other that comes from a whisper of guidance. And to me, the big spiritual guidance comes in a whisper. If Jesus came down in a shaft of light and told me to do something, I would damn well do it. Because, oh my God, what could you do? You can't say no to something like that. And therefore, there's no free will. But if a homeless person whispers something to me, and it totally vibrates, and it makes some kind of sense, and it makes me look at something else, that makes me look at something else, that makes me look at something else, and there's a solution, and there's a miracle, and there's a doorway that opens. That is free will. Faith is participatory. It means you are willing to participate in each step of the way to follow the guidance of a higher source of energy that is going to take you in a circuitous path, not a linear left brain path, but a circuitous path, because faith typically involves, at first you have to change internally before the circumstances can change, because the way you are now, things cannot come to you because you're shut down or you're in fear or you're not ready for something. So part of faith is allowing Spirit to take you to all these other places so you shift and change, and then external circumstances can change. This is going from the inside out. So listening to whispers takes being present. Sometimes you can't meditate in challenging times. Maybe you need to pray then. Maybe you need to write. Maybe you need to listen to music in order to get in touch, not to zone out with head-banging music. And then you're going to take little daring steps. When I say daring, they're daring because they're not going to make sense to you, but you just have this sense, this push, this, I don't know, this indescribable something that is inviting you to participate in the changes that are about to unfold. This is the best way I can describe faith. And again, 90% of my practice is energy. There is no way for me to describe the work I do. And this is true of anybody on a shamanic path, anybody working with magical energies. So if you see a lot of description on a website, to me that's like somebody advertising what a great lover they are. It just doesn't do anything for me. In fact, it makes me a little worried because some things are indescribable. Faith is what people do. Some very mundane examples in AA. If you ever go to a 12-step meeting, you will hear hundreds of stories where people say, I did the work, I followed the steps, and then one day I stopped drinking, or one day that horrible relationship, it was just over. I was just done. There was no more fear, anxiety, or question, no more hurt, no more pain. It was over, and I don't know how it happened. Or you'll hear someone say, and then I just stopped eating sugar, and that was 8 years ago. Those are acts of faith. They didn't wait passively. They took action. They did the 12 steps. You don't have to do the 12 steps. You can find other ways to stay centered, stay present, feel everything, and allow everything you're feeling to be altered by a source higher than you. What 12-step programs call a higher power, because they are not religious, they are spiritual. After a while, if you're on a spiritual path, you live a lot by faith. I personally have been called a badass. Oh, you have this amazing life, you did this, you did that. I had no life plans. I wanted to be a cat and have kittens. And after that, I thought I would die by the time I was 21, being a revolutionary for peace and social justice. And I was in all sorts of armed conflicts, lived in some of the worst areas of the United States, and I should have died, and I didn't. And there I was, no plan. And everything Spirit put in front of my face, after that, where's Pia? Pia! I did the best job I possibly could. There she is. Come on, my little peanut. Come on. So if Spirit, put in front of my face, pick up horse manure, I did the best job I could. If Spirit told me to work in an office, Xeroxing, I did the best job I could. And Spirit put me in the position of being a professor, I did the best job I could, even though it scared the crap out of me the first couple of years, because I never saw myself as a teacher. That is living by faith. And I didn't choose to live by faith, except apparently I did. Before I came here, I obviously chose to have my life be that challenging, or it wouldn't have happened that way. Now, if you're working only with mainstream psychology, if a psychologist heard a story like that, there would be discussions of pathologies and treatments and childhood trauma. some of which was true, childhood trauma, a lot of death in my early childhood, and a lot of being threatened by the United States government. That was traumatic for my parent. So mainstream psychology can help with a lot of recovery work, but it cannot help you identify your spiritual path, because it doesn't work with that at all, in my opinion. And I love psychology, by the way. So I can tell you that living by faith or with faith to any degree is one of the coolest, most magical practices that you can put into place on your journey if you are someone who realizes you're a soul having a human experience. But it's not effortless. We could say it's effortless effort because it comes out of guidance. But if you can't get centered, if you can't spend time with yourself in the silence, I don't know how you listen to the whispers that are given to you. All right, signing off. Don't forget, free 30-minute session, and that will just be like an appetizer, but at least you can meet me and see if you feel a good vibe. Come to a class, $45, not a big financial risk. You won't be tortured by emails or signing up for anything. And see if this is something that fits you. I know I am eternally grateful to the teachers in my life because they changed me forever, and they helped me to change me forever. All right, signing off.